Welcome to VPI Documentaries, a video series as part of the Federal Highway Administration's Everyday Counts virtual public involvement program. This video features North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority's youth and young adult engagement.
Hi, this is David Barron. I'm the Deputy Executive Director of the NJTPA.
My name is Melissa Hayes. I'm the Senior Manager of Outreach at the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, and I manage the team that's in charge of all of our public outreach initiatives.
I think what's really important to keep in mind about the NJTPA region is how diverse it is in really every sense of the word, socioeconomically, racially, language diversity, geographically, with towns ranging from beach resorts at the Jersey Shore to small rural hamlets and really everything in between. We also have a really diverse transportation system. That presents certain challenges when it comes to outreach, the size, the scope, the busyness, the congestion of our region, the diversity of our region. I've been with the NJTPA since the year 2000. At that time, we had what I would consider by modern standards a rudimentary website where all the materials were posted for public review and people could email comments. But when we did finally embrace social media and we launched our Facebook page and our Twitter feed, we started to see, aside from the direct engagement, just how much more exposure that could give the agency, which is really a critical first step. Over the subsequent years, we started to do more online surveys as part of plan outreach and things like that. Even at public meetings, we sometimes would have a virtual component like polling, where people could use their phones to do live polls. And then we also just so happened to be right about to step into a full-blown public engagement effort for our long-range plan when the pandemic hit.
So we launched NJTPA On Air as part of our outreach for Plan 2045, which was back in 2017. It was a way to engage kids and teens in our long-range plan. Having
the exposure to those ideas and the spirit behind them really can infuse a new spirit and a more positive spirit into a plan, into individuals working on that plan.
At the time, it was a radio booth that we did as a pop-up kiosk at places like Liberty Science Center and libraries and Boys and Girls Clubs. They had a little prompt they listened to that asked them to think about what transportation would be like in the future, like when they're their parents' age. And they, told us about how they thought they'd be getting around, 20, 25 years from now. We wanted to do it again for Plan 2050, but we knew that we couldn't go out in person again. A lot of these places were closed because of the pandemic. So we kind of reimagined it as a multimedia online competition where we still had a prompt. This time it was a short YouTube video that kids could watch. And they could either record an audio clip, record a short video. Some of them submitted essays or drawings. It was really up to the kids how they wanted to express their views and ideas about transportation. So we actually reached out to local school districts and asked them to share a one-page flyer about On Air with their teachers. And so we had a number of teachers throughout our region that agreed to present it to their students as a class project, basically. And we had over 150 kids participate, which we thought was pretty great. They were concerned about the environment. They were really interested in new and emerging technologies, probably more kids interested in flying cars than the adults we were polling. But we also heard things about like high-speed rail and maglev technology. A lot of the kids talked about air quality and wanting to make sure that we were thinking about the environment when we were looking at transportation projects. We did it as just a standalone outreach activity for Plan 2045, where we recruited about 20 college-aged adults to host dinner parties with their friends. They all had about 10 to 15 people participate. And we gave them conversation cards that had different topics we were looking to cover and get feedback on for the long-range plan. Some additional feedback we got from participants was that they wanted to be engaged with us beyond Plan 2045, that they were looking for ways to get involved with the NJTPA and our work outside of just a long-range plan. So we talked to them about what that meant to them, and we came up with the idea for launching UpNext North Jersey, which is our young adult advisory group. We launched in late 2019 with 25 participants. And we got to hold, in addition to the kickoff meeting we had in late 2019, we got to hold one in-person event in Passaic County in early 2020. And then the pandemic kind of shut everything down. So we had to shift from, this vision we had for in-person events all over our region tied to different planning work that we had going on to these online events. So we decided to do topic-based meetings that were tied to our plan. For the active transportation topic, we asked them to do an activity for us and give us input. We basically challenged them to try to walk or bike somewhere that they might typically drive to, not too far away, somewhere they could get to on foot or on bike, but just report back to us on any challenges they encountered along the way. Were there no bike lanes? Did they not feel safe walking or biking on the roads, and that sort of thing. So if you go and look at our long-range plan, you can see, some of the feedback we got from those groups. And it's really like we wove public input throughout the entire document. You could flip to any chapter in the plan and you'll see pull out quotes about what we heard from people.
All these kids, for the most part, said, they want transportation to be safer. They want it to be cleaner and greener. They want to have options.
We have an online public engagement toolkit called Engage, and it was based on a research project that we did with the Voorhees Transportation Center at Rutgers University. We put that all together into a toolkit. There's guidance on reaching different groups, whether you're talking about young adults or children. There's also some guidance for working with limited English populations. An example of that would be like ESL classes that we've used for outreach. And it also, in addition to that, we have a searchable database that's part of the tool that anybody can use. It's free and open to the public on our website. There's kind of like a whole menu of options you can select from, and you can check off different boxes, and then you hit search, and it brings up different techniques that have and strategies that have been used by us and others successfully in outreach. One thing that we've made sure of in all of our virtual public engagement activities is that everything could be done via a mobile device or a computer. Understanding that not everybody has a computer at home or doesn't have access to, broadband internet. So I think it really helps to partner with those community groups and get them involved to give you feedback and just really, make sure you like the technology you're using and you're familiar with it before you kind of just jump in.
I would just add that I think it's important that leadership at an agency convey that this kind of outreach and working in this way is going to be the way of the future. When you're dealing with the kids in outreach, it can be very refreshing in that they're coming at it from a much different perspective than the adults. They're not jaded. They are optimistic. So I think it's another good reason to try some of these techniques, is that it really can provide that broader change of perspective that sometimes I think we all need every once in a while. So that's a reason I'd really recommend anybody try it too.